Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So it's probably been about a month since I did my last yard tour and I've been working a lot on it, so I'm going to take you guys around and show you some of the changes I've made. So I'm going to start here in the porch. My fern is still doing good, which I'm surprised with. I was afraid he wasn't getting enough sun. Oh, and I picked up a new fertilizing or plant food kit, so I'm going to give this a shot. I've been just doing it in a watering can, but last week I had to do like 5 watering cans full, so it took a long time. So I'm going to try one of these hose feed ones. And I use this once a week. When I plant all my plants, I use like a slow release. It's called a Spoma plant tone. And I kind of like sprinkle that into the soil with them. And then I do this once a week to give them like a boost. So over here is like my experiment tray. And this one just has to be planted. This is a Liriope that I got on the clearance section at Lowe's. And I just took out all the dead branches. But these are some ones I'm trying to get to take root. So these are some sedum. And I liked the dark leaves. And then what I did was just peel the bottom leaves off, put some rooting hormone and put it in here and keep it moist. So we'll see if that works. The leaves that I ripped off, I also put some rooting hormone on and just put them in here to see if they would do anything. I don't think they will, but it's worth a shot. So over here is my containers. And a lot of these are the same. This is my lobelia, and this is probably about ready to be switched out for something else. I don't think this one likes the heat too much. And my pansies are starting to look a little droopy in the heat as well. This is my verbena, and I just deadheaded it like 2 days ago, so you won't see any blooms yet, but you can see there's about a bunch more coming in the little sections like that. And this one likes the heat, so that'll do good all summer. My ivy. This one's a mandevilla. And this is going to be a winter experiment. I'm going to try taking it inside with like a grow light and overwintering it, I guess they call it. I've been doing a lot of like research on YouTube to try and figure it out. So that's going to be something I try. This is my fern leaf lavender. This one here will be an annual. I'm in zone 6. So this one won't make it through the winter here, but I like it. And this actually smells more like oregano than traditional lavender. And I just did some painting on the railings here. I had out some extra paint, and I figured while it was out I might as well freshen them up. And then here's some more of my experimental plants. So this guy here, the white petunias were like one of those clearance ones at Lowe's. It was $3 for a hanging basket. And then this was a hanging basket of coleus that I got at ShopRite for $5. And then I just mixed them together. And the petunias came back really well. They kind of just needed to be deadheaded and cleaned up a little. And then that is my basil, which is doing a lot better since my last video. I kind of feel like it just needed to thin itself out some, maybe. I feel like it was like too many in there. So I'm trying to grow grass in here. And then over here, this is the one that you guys helped me identify, so thank you. It's a euphorbia, and its name is Cypress Spurge. And then I just have a lone petunia here. And then my salvia, which I'm really happy with right now. This is like its second bloom. So it stopped blooming. The branches were like died off a few weeks ago. The internet said to cut them back and you'll get a second bloom. So I was so nervous, but I did it anyways. And they actually are blooming, and there's still some that are going to happen. So this part here was a new discovery. I was pressure washing the house and we found like a patio underneath. I've got to do some concrete to fill it in a little bit, but it's always fun when you find things. My window boxes up there are still empty. My birthday is coming up in a few weeks, and my mom and my husband and I are going to go on like a thrifting trip, and there'll be an IKEA nearby, so I'll pick up the lavender for that. So up here is my spirea. And this is just about done blooming. This was all pink. You can see they're all kind of done now. So once this is completely done, I'll shear it back. And it's supposed to keep it from getting too tall. It's supposed to make it like branch out more next year. We'll see. Over here, this one was unintentional. This just happened to be here. And then next to it, you can see my poison ivy tree, unfortunately. And here's some of those still in bloom. And the bugs really like this one. So up here in front, my sweet woodruff is doing really well. I actually was weeding in here. You can't tell because it's already filled back in, but they're starting to like spread out and get new growth underneath, so I was really excited about that. Like you can see down here, this little guy is new, and like all of them are starting to do that, spread out a little bit. And the same thing over here. Now I planted some hostas here, and right now you can only see 3 of them because the deer chewed the other ones down. I went to work one day and I came home and 2 of them were like chewed to the ground almost, so I was like really sad, but I'm just going to leave them and see if they'll come back next year. So this one's about to bloom. That one is okay, they didn't get most of it. And then these are the 2 that were kind of decimated. That's what's left of that one. And that's what's left of this one here. I picked them up cheap at Walmart, so so it wasn't like a huge investment lost, but hopefully they'll bounce back. Now over here at the base of this tree, I'm trying another experiment, and that's kind of what I'm doing. Like I'm learning as I go, just trying things. So this is a clipping, that there, and there's a few in here. A clipping of a euonymus, I think it was called, and I just laid them underground. They're kind of like they looked like they had little grabbers on them. So I'm hoping it'll take root and maybe do something. So we're going to see how that goes. Now over here is another one of those Lowe's clearance ones, and I just can't stop with the Lowe's clearance section. Every time I go in, I have to come home with something. So this is an azalea, and it was on clearance for $3. This specific one can get to 6 feet tall, so that's why I planted it kind of like over here. It should make it like partway up the porch there, but kind of just fill in this blank area. So I finally got rid of all the pine needles from the last one too. And I did have to remove some of this because it was kind of tattered underneath. So this is a little narrower. And I did pressure wash everything. So you can see over here it's a lot cleaner. I'm going to still paint that. But this is why I got the paint out. I was working on this window box. I wanted to just freshen it up for summer. So my lavender is sitting on the ground right now. But these are such good fakes, you guys. If you would have an IKEA near you and you like lavender, like the look of it, these, I mean, because you don't have to do anything. You just pop them in the window box and you're done. I love these. So there's a really loud truck going by right now. But this is over here how my garden's working. This whole section in my last video was dirt, and you can see I put down grass seed. It's actually starting to fill in nice. But I've added a lot to the garden. I'm not sure what plants were here and which weren't, so I'm just going to go over them all quick. This here was my delphinium, and that's done blooming, so I've cut it back. These are my rudbeckia, which I think is just a black-eyed Susan. These are my coneflowers, and I actually watched a butterfly feeding off of these the other morning. It was so cool. Now over here is some more salvia, and I cut these back too. You can see some of them have bounced back. This one here, I don't know, maybe it's not going to survive, but it does look like it has some new growth, so we'll see. It's kind of like an experiment. This one here has a couple new pieces. My DIY bee skep. These are my coreopsis. And I just like how tall and spiky they look. Right now everything is short, and that's the hardest part of when you're first starting it out, is you want everything to be like full and packed together. But they all have like spacing suggestions, so it looks a little empty, but at least these add some height. This is a penny gazing ball that I made. It was like a cement or concrete type form from TJ Maxx, and then I just glued pennies around it with silicone. It took about $5 worth. This is my rhododendron. And my bird bath. Here's another liriope from, this one also is from Lowe's. This was I think this one was clearance for $3. And it looks like something got to it, and I moved it over here to try and prevent that. It was in a different spot of the yard at first. This one here is my favorite of all, and this is a phlox. There is a garden center that's like around my area. It's got a couple locations. It's called Adams Fairacre Farms. And they had this on sale. It's normally $20. It was marked down to $12. My husband took me that weekend and we picked it up. And I just love it. Now this is one that they also say to cut back, and I'll get a second set of blooms. So I'm kind of nervous to do that, but after it blooms out, I'll do some deadheading and see what happens. Over here I planted some English lavender. And this is kind of an experiment too. There's a lot of sun here, but I don't know how well draining it is, so we'll have to find out. That was Candy Tuft Iberis or Iberis, and that has died down, so I just trimmed it back. These are Scabiosas. I think buttonflower maybe is their common name. I only know the scientific names because that's all they print on the cards, so like I save them all and that's what I learn. So yeah, this one I have to trim or do some deadheading on because it'll keep blooming. There's some under here you can see like haven't come up yet. This is my bee balm, which really isn't doing much of anything yet. This I transplanted from my grandmother's yard, so this is one I'm going to give time and just see what happens. And I planted them. I wasn't sure how much to space these guys, so now over here this section's getting exciting too. This is some myrtle that I got from my grandmother's yard, and it'll just like spread, hopefully take over this little corner. These are my morning glories, and these started out probably like a half an inch tall, and now they're like climbing this already. And this here is just a wooden structure that I built for the garden. I picked up like $9 in little like scrap wood at Lowe's, and I found a tutorial online, and I'll give a link to that way if you guys want to try and make one. It's really simple. Then up here is a birdhouse that I picked up for free at a yard sale. And there's already birds making a nest in there. I won't disturb them, but it's really cool. Last night I was coming out and I wanted to put some screws in to sturdy it up a little, and I saw they already have sticks and nesting material. So over here in my line of Rose of Sharons, you can see the woods are kind of growing in on them, but only 2 of them have not had new growth, and the one actually has a bud, and I might get a flower this year. So I think it's this one, yeah. If you look right down in here, you can see this one has a bud. So that one might actually get a flower this summer. And then there's only 2 that haven't had new growth. The rest of them all seem pretty healthy. I haven't seen any more flower buds, but like that one hasn't had new growth and it looks kind of rough. I'm going to leave it and see what happens. And then I did them all the way down to there. Eventually, I would love to get rid of all that stuff. So I finally put the bike out in the yard too. And honestly guys, I don't like it. So I'm going to pull the bike out of there. It's just too like retro and kind of kitschy for me. It's like, because it's pink, just not farmhouse enough. So I cleared out the area in there a little bit. I'm just going to put down some stepping stones and maybe a bench. So I've got these railings here, and these came off my parents' porch when I was a kid, and they just had them like sitting in their yard. This is the bike. And I mean, it's pretty and it would look good somewhere else. It just doesn't go with the rest of what I have. So, and those are those bug zapper lights that I nearly electrocuted myself with. They're from Dress Lily. So behind me, I made another little section here. I just moved some rocks in from somewhere else in the yard. And then I did some chives from seed. And those are the little things here that look like grass. They look like they need to be watered actually. After this video, I'm going to go fertilize everything with that new hose end I got. This is an obedient plant. My husband got me this for our 9th wedding anniversary, which was a few weeks ago. And this one is supposed to bloom late summer to fall, so it'll kind of be interesting then. It's also supposed to be an aggressive spreader, so that's kind of why I gave it its own area. We'll see what happens. This pole here, I picked up on Craigslist for $10, and it's like super strong, so this is neat. When the hummingbird season is over, I will put regular bird feeders out kind of when the bears are hibernating. But now it's neat to watch them. They're kind of aggressive too. They come in and fight each other. So I finally finished my screen room, and I like to call it the deck because it sounds fancy. So on July 4th we came out here and had Scrabble on the deck. So you can see I finished up the bottom of it, and I painted these uprights, which made like a huge difference. I was going to leave them wood, then my mom suggested painting them, and she got the idea in my mind, and it was a good idea. So I say mom always knows best. So yeah, now comes the fun part of finding furniture and things for it. My mother also suggested a rug, which I think is a great idea. So maybe one of those Home Depot ones. It's like $17. And then I want to have a fire pit and stuff eventually. But yeah, it's just really cool that it's done now. We can actually sit on it and enjoy it. So now I'll turn you guys back around and head you towards the house again, and you can see that I've pressure washed it. Everything that was up there, like the black and the green, like mildew lines, is all gone, and it makes me so happy. And I'm trying not to shake the camera, but the yard is quite uneven. Alright, then over here I've got another section too. This is a foxglove that I found in the woods, and my husband went back and dug it out with me and brought it forward. It's already flowered and done. I picked off the seeds and put them in the ground to see if maybe I can get some more. And then this one here I love. This is a hydrangea that I picked up for $10 at ShopRite. And let me see if I can remember the name. It's a pistachio horwhack hydrangea. So it's supposed to bloom all summer, like into the fall, and it gets this really pretty color. I like the blue and the pink ones too, but this is really cool because it's kind of like red and green, and then it's supposed to like mature into like a really deep purpley color. So you can see like little fresh ones here. These are a little older, but I bought this, like I said, it was on sale at ShopRite for $10, and it's had this pretty color. It's probably been on the ground for about 3 weeks now, and it's looked the same the entire time. And then I have one more over here, and this is another one of those Lowe's ones. This was a $3 azalea bush, and this one's going to be a little shorter than that one I showed you in the front. This one is supposed to get to about 2 feet maximum height, so it won't overgrow the porch. And I was also worried if it got too big and attracted bees, it's kind of a bad idea in your entryway. So anyways, this guy was $3 also at Lowe's. And if you guys made it through this entire video, I want to thank you for watching. I also want to do kind of like a get to know me. Someone had suggested that, and I thought it was a great idea. So if you have any questions like pertaining to anything, just leave them in the comments section, and I'm going to try and get together a get to know me video when I get enough questions. But I hope you guys enjoyed seeing some of the changes I made around the yard. Thank you for watching.